really kind of been on the rise lately. This doomer mindset. And honestly, it seems like it's kind of encouraging young men to convert themselves into NPCs a little bit. You know what I mean? I'll explain what I mean by that, I guess, a little bit further. So a non-player character is still stuck in the game, right? Still there. Just doesn't have any kind of original thought or ability to really play the game further than its programming. Now, in my last video, I talked about the social media mind control program. Not all social media is bad, and you could use it for your advantage or whatever, but also there's a lot of programming in it, and I think this is one of those programmings, the doomer mindset. Now, before I get into this, I'm not a CEO of a company or whatever. I'm not going to tell you, you should have done better. I'm not a boomer. I'm not going to tell you to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. I totally understand the struggle. I literally DoorDash and sell things on eBay for a living. Okay, so and I know how hard it is out here to just even keep up for some people, and even the thought of getting ahead being basically very distant, as far as buying a house, and all these things. Right now, I'm a little older. I'm in my 30s. A lot of this is Gen Z, but also millennial, my age, and mostly men. Mostly, it seems like that are kind of being pulled into the doomer mindset. And so I understand to a degree how it's happening, why it's happening. But I see it as a programming. I see it as a part of the programming that is, it's basically taking people out of the game. And so what is the doomer mindset anyway? So it says something kind of like this, like no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to get ahead. No matter what you do, your situation's not going to get better. The dating market is so terrible that you should just go ahead and give up. You'll never have kids. You'll never own a house. You never, it's going to be terrible. No matter what you do, so why even try? It's that kind of mentality, and it's kind of on repeat. And there's a lot of content out there that is it's kind of geared towards this doomer mentality, and it seems to be somewhat popular, and I look at the comment sections. There's a lot of people in the comment sections, seems like people, I'll get to that in a minute, but there's a lot of comments talking about basically giving up on the whole thing. How life is terrible. They're in their 30s. They've never had a successful interaction with a female, and all this stuff. So now why do I think that I said people in the comments, and I kind of said it like that? I'm not so sure that some of these comments aren't bots. And this gets into the kind of the social media mind control programming stuff like I was talking about in the last video. You should go watch that if you haven't seen it. But yeah, this mindset, while understandable as to why it exists, I understand why it exists. Now some people, they may have their stuff together. They did everything the right way early on in life. Maybe they're my age or older, and they did everything the right way early on in life. They bought a house early. Got the job with all the benefits, everything. They've been able to hold down that job. They've done really well. And so probably if you're one of these people, congratulations, and that's awesome. I love it. But you're a little bit out of touch maybe with where some of these people are coming from. Some of the people that are talking about the doomer mindset. So yeah, like I said, mostly Gen Z, millennial, young men for the most part. That's what I've noticed who are talking about this. And I will say this, I disagree with the mindset. I take a different approach. So I'm facing a lot of those struggles, not the dating struggle, obviously, but I'm facing a lot of those struggles financially as far as that's concerned. And my mindset is to, plant seeds, work on building something, anything. Start small. Think outside the box, right? Yeah, some of the jobs suck. Some of the bosses at some of the jobs probably suck. And this is the doomer argument is that, I've even heard that jobs are very similar to jail. Jobs are not much different from jail. Well, you know what? It is a lot different than jail. To have a job that you can, you could choose to go to or not go to. I know you can argue, well, if you don't go, you won't eat. Yeah, that's true. But then you can also try to find another job. You can try to start a business. You can do all these things. You may fail. You probably will at some point in time. But this is life. Guys, you got to get out there. You got to try things. You got to fail so that you can learn, so that you can try more things, so that you could then eventually, you will succeed eventually if you keep trying hard enough. You know what I mean? If you ask 100 women out on a date, somebody's going to say yes, probably, eventually. You know what I mean? I don't want to boil it down to just that, but it's like the idea that, well, I'll never be able to have kids or family. I'll never be able to have a house. I'll never be able to get a good job. I'll never be able to get ahead. To me, is highly flawed because it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, guys. And what I see is the comments, they stack on one another, and everybody's piling into these doomer videos, and they're kind of talking about how bad they've got it, right? Well, look, that, you're the equivalent of they say that you're the equivalent of your 5 closest friends, or the people that you spend the most time with, I guess you could say. So if you're spending time in the doomer circles, you're going to have a doomer life. That's my philosophy on it, right? So it's going to, with an attitude like that, is what I think, you're not going to get anywhere, right? I don't have any of the special stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had to restart in my 30s from zero. I'm door dashing for money while I'm building eBay account, YouTube channels, and other stuff too. And I could easily just say that I have to give up or whatever, but I have a family that depends on me. I cannot do that. And so even if you don't have a family that depends on you, you can still take the same mentality of saying, I am not going to be a victim. The problem I see buying into the doomer mentality is, like I was saying before, it's kind of like converting yourself into an NPC. You're not getting out of the game. Like, dude, you're in the game, okay? You're living your life. You're here. So you have a choice. You have a choice to either give up, or you have a choice to try your best, right? And I know, try your best. A lot of people will say that. You sound like a boomer, man. Try your best. Give it your best shot. Yeah, but you should. You should give it your best shot, man. If you shoot for the moon, you're going to get a lot higher than if you shoot for the ground. It just is what it is. And you guys right now in the doomer community, I'm not trying to talk down to you. Like I said, I face the same struggles, guys. I started with zero. I don't have a college degree. So I understand. I'm just taking a different route, man. I'm just taking a different approach to it. And I just want to say that you can take a different approach. You want to see how to take a different approach. I talk about it a lot on this channel. About freeing your mind from the programming, the social media mind control programming. And this is part of the social media mind control programming, the doomer culture. It's designed to take you off the playing field, take you out of the game, put you on the sideline, make you literally a consumer. A lot of doomers complain about the consumer culture. But if you're not out producing and building things, then you are only a consumer. You still eat, right? You still play video games. You still go to work at and spend your money on food and all these things, right? Or maybe you don't go to work. A lot of people are unemployed in the doomer world, right? And so they say, well, it's better just to not even have a job. Why even have a job if I'm not just paying to work, paying to live? And I get that. I understand that. I make money door dashing so that I can pay for gas, so I can pay for my insurance, so I can go do it again. But you got to try to pull some of that money out, save it, invest it, figure out something you want to do with it. Think back to when you were a child, right? And what you might have wanted to do as a child. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not going to be exactly like that, but you can use that for inspiration to try to figure out what it is that you are actually good at and what it is that you naturally are gravitating towards, right? There's different types of people. Some people, they speak, and they're good at speaking. Some people are not good at that at all. Some people are good at drawing. Some people are good at leading, being a leader, leadership qualities. Some people don't have that, and it's okay. Sometimes it's actually good to have a job. The whole part of this doomer culture is the 9 to 5 is like wage slavery. Well, we're all kind of in a way, we're all kind of stuck to, you know, having to breathe, having to eat. You know, if you don't have oxygen for long enough, you don't make it. If you don't have food for long enough, you don't make it. We're all like that. We're all in that same boat, man. And so, you know, we're here, right? You might as well make the best of it. And so one thing you can do is inspire other people, help other people while we're here. Don't give up. You need to find some kind of meaning in life. There's a book, and I recommend reading this, especially if you're in this place right now. And it's called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a survivor of the camps, the Auschwitz camps and stuff. You should just go read that, read of his experiences and how he saw certain people survive by having meaning, finding a meaning to life. And this is a little bit different than meaning, but also having a purpose. The meaning is the why, the purpose is the what, right? The meaning gives you a part of your reality that kind of leads to the purpose. And the purpose is what you go do. You know, what you're here to do. Everybody's here for a reason. I truly believe that. I don't think God put us here in this place not to be kind of trained and taught different things. But you can check out of that if you want, become an NPC. You know, it's funny because a lot of doomers talk about the people that are working and the people that are trying to do better as NPCs, and it's kind of the reverse. It's like, dude, you're in NPC if you buy into this mentality that there's nothing that you can do to change your reality. That's literally the definition of an NPC, right? And so then you don't have a meaning in life, right? So finding meaning, looking back to your childhood, these are things that can help, man. You know, this doomer culture, if you want to call it that, is it's just part of the program, man. And I totally get it why people are, you know, they're going to the internet. They're saying, you know what, I don't feel like I have hope anymore. You've got to try to find it somewhere. And you have choice right now. You have a choice to live the doomer lifestyle, which is going to suck for the rest of your life. Or you can try to escape. You can try to break out, right? Breaking out is not saying I don't ever want to work a 9 to 5. In fact, sometimes 9 to 5s are the best option for you. You'll feel a lot better probably if you get a good job and you're making enough money to survive and you have health insurance and all that stuff, and you can have a different outlook on life. You can go and travel, you can do these things, and you say, well, nobody will hire me. Well, then, you know, yeah, it sucks. You might have to try to start a business. You may have to try to start, I wouldn't say start a YouTube channel to make a living with, but I would say you may have to start something and work on it. And you're going to probably fail a little bit. You're going to probably fail from time to time, but that's how you learn. That's how you learn. And so you got to be willing to have some resistance if you want to try to learn. All right, so that's all for the doomer culture for the day. I want to try to provide some solutions. I'm always looking for solutions. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm in the struggle myself, but I'm just going to take a different approach. We're not going to, I can't sit here and look at it and say that I will never have this, I will never do this, I will never do that. It's just not in my mindset, and it's not going to be beneficial unless I choose to do things that are beneficial. I'll never see the benefits. Nothing's going to come out of the middle of nowhere and save you. Politicians not going to save you. Your doomer friends are not going to save you. They're going to just sit there and watch you doom, right? So anyway, okay, tried not to be too harsh on that, but hopefully there's some value packed in there. We'll get into this a little bit further in the future on the different aspects of these things. Go watch that video on the social media mind control programming. I have other videos on the channel, and I'm trying to create a freedom-based mindset that we can better our lives, not not sit here and worry about how bad it is and talk about how bad it is all the time, because we will touch on some of these topics, these doomer type topics, because they are reality. They are based in, you know, inflation. Yeah, the dating market sucks. We're all under attack. We're all under attack. Men, women. The women are under attack to act that way that you talk about the women acting. The men are under attack to act in a doomer type of way. It's designed to remove everybody from their connections, from their meaningful connections, from that meaning in life, and it's all part of it, man. That's the battle that we have to fight. All right, I'm gonna cut it off there. I hope you guys got something out of the video. Like I said, go watch my other videos. Consider subscribing to the channel. We'll probably discuss this kind of thing a little bit more as time goes on, and try to find some solutions for us, guys. All right, that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.